Hey everyone, so I figured I would do a very quick, brief first impression overview of my opinion of the Lansinoh Smart pump and then kind of comparing it to the Spectra. So the Spectra is what I used when I was nursing Paxton, and so I know that very well, and then the Lansinoh I just started using. So it's, like I said, it's not going to be like a crazy in-depth overview, just kind of like my first impression and my thoughts of it so far. So first I'm going to show you kind of both pumps. So the Spectra looks like this. So I have the S2. So the S2 is not portable in the sense that, you know, there is no battery power. You have to be plugged into the wall. And obviously it's a little bit big, but even if you get the portable version of this, so I think it's the S1, it's still this size, so it is, you know, a little bit bigger. So if you want to compare it to like the Lansinoh is obviously a lot smaller, and more portable. So that is just kind of like the motor of the Spectra. And then the motor of the Lansinoh, like I said, it's smaller, it's lighter, and this one, you can't put battery in here, so obviously you can take it on the go, or obviously you can be hooked up to the outlet. And then button-wise, I guess I can quickly show you. But this is all stuff you can, you know, look up online photos. And then this one just kind of looks like this. So a feature, and I'm not going to like go over the buttons or anything because that's pretty self-explanatory if you've had a pump before. But what the Spectra has that the Lansinoh doesn't is it does have a little night light feature, and it has two settings. So it has a dimmer light and a brighter light. So that is a nice feature because if you do pump at night and you don't want to like turn on all the lights or the big light in your room because you don't want to like completely wake up, you can just turn on this light, that little night light on the Spectra, which is nice because then you're not like super awake. And if you're doing it like in bed and you don't want to wake up your husband, this is a lot dimmer of a light than if you turned on like your main bedroom light. Oh, and then since I'm talking about this too, I might as well mention this. So the Spectra, when you connect the tubing, it has two little holes. So if you are pumping just one-sided with one phalange, then you just use one, and if you're pumping with two, you put the tubing into both, and then otherwise you close up whichever one you're not using with this little thing, so then it would look like that. And then, like I said, you just stick in the phalange thing with the tube, and if you're doing two, you stick in two of these. Whereas the Lansinoh, you have one hole, so you can only stick in one hose. So you stick that in, and then this hose splits off into, I say it's like a stethoscope, but I guess someone else might say it's like a wire or what have you, but see how it looks like a stethoscope? But it splits into two, and then these two little hoses is where you, tubes is where you add a pump here and a pump there. And then if you only want to pump one-sided, then you take the little tube off, and then here this one comes with, this is a little closer, and then you close it like that. So if I'm talking about that aspect, comparing the Lansinoh and the Spectra, I prefer having the two holes from the Spectra on the machine because I feel like then you have more flexibility with each of the pumps. Whereas when it splits into like a little stethoscope, I don't know, I just feel you're a little bit more restricted, and so I don't like that. Because now if you have, like, imagine another thing here, you have a lot less room where you can move, and if you like move one, like you're yanking on the other. So I don't know, I just think it's a little inconvenient having it be like that. But I guess it is more compact, so maybe that's why they did it. I'm not sure. Then, if you move from the tubing into like this part, the pump, the phalange setup thing, I don't know, in the collector bottle, whatever you want to call this thing. This is what they look like. So we have the Lansinoh and the Spectra. So we'll start with kind of like the very obvious difference is in the phalanges. So, or the phalange, or I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but this one's just a hard, you know, normal plastic, the Spectra. Here it's the same thing, but then it has this like silicone, bendy, nice, soft outer layer. So this is definitely a lot gentler on your breast, so when you're pumping and it's, you know, up against you, this doesn't like cut into you and leave like those red rings when you're pumping, which if you've pumped a lot before, you know what I'm talking about with the Spectra. This is just a soft, so in regards to comfort, definitely the Lansinoh wins here with the Flange. And then like they each have a collector bottle, and then you screw this off. We have this, and then we have, each of them have a little duck bill on the Spectra, and the little duck bill on the Lansinoh. And then here, this is kind of how the phalange is. So this is, can't take this apart any further. So here you just attach the little duck bill, and then the bottle. And then here we have this whole thing, but you can disconnect the phalange here. And then here we have like the diaphragm built in. So the diaphragm is like more connected to the phalange as a whole, whereas here we have this, the bottle, obviously like the duck bill, and then here's the little diaphragm, which is separate. I prefer the way the Spectra has it, how the diaphragm is separate. I don't know, I'm just used to it that way, maybe, I don't know, but I think it's more convenient, it's easier to take apart than the Lansinoh setup, and I like having just this thing, and then the phalange and the duck bill, whereas here you have the phalange. I don't know, I just feel like there's more pieces and they're bulkier. Again, that's just me being picky, and I think it's just because Spectra is what I'm used to and this is new, and I'm just not used to like taking that apart in those parts and everything, so I'm sure it's not that big of a deal, and it's not a big deal, but it's just something that I've noticed, and I personally just like the way the Spectra is designed better. So there's that comparison. So then something that I like about, well, two things that I like about the Lansinoh is when you want to close the Lansinoh, it comes with a bottle cap. So you can just cap it. And it also comes with like the little nipple adapter thing so that you can use this as a bottle if you wish. But this is the feature that I like. It comes with a cap for the bottle. Whereas the Spectra, it does not. You only have this. This is your only lid for the bottle, which is obviously the nipple. And then it has, you know, this little thing so you can prevent the milk from the bottle going up into the nipple. So this is the only way you can cap it. So if I want to cap what I pumped, I have to use this entire thing, which means then when I go to sterilize, I'm gonna have to sterilize all these pieces. This thingy, the cap to the nipple, and like the ring. So it's just a lot of stuff and wasted space that I'm wasting in my sterilizer for things that I didn't even use. So for me, that's annoying. So that is a feature that I do really like about the Lansinoh, because you can just cap it and then all you have is this to wash, as opposed to also having to wash the nipple and everything. So that I like. And then I also like that the Lansinoh comes with, I'm going to quickly put this together so you can see, but the Lansinoh comes with this little support base so that when you are done pumping and you put it down on your counter or your nightstand or wherever you put it, before you go and transfer it or find the lid or put it in a storage bag, you put it on the counter and let it sit there. And then what happens to me a lot is, because they obviously are a little bit top heavy because of these phalanges, they easily fall over. But Lansinoh has these little things that you can stick them into so that they don't fall over, which is very convenient, because I have knocked over the Spectra multiple times and spilled milk everywhere. One, it's a mess and that's not fun, but then two, I mean, you work hard for your milk, so you don't want it ending up on your table because then it's useless. So that's a feature that I really like about the Lansinoh. Other features that the Lansinoh have that I don't know anything about is the Lansinoh Smart pump. Obviously in its name, it's smart in that you can connect it with your phone, and there's features that you can do. I don't know anything about that because I didn't even download the app, because I don't really care to use that, because I don't really feel like tracking anything. I'm not solo pumping, I'm just kind of pumping to fill up my freezer and have a little bit of supply in case I need it. So I don't really find a usefulness for that, but I'm sure there are people who do find that useful. So obviously there were nice features about the Lansinoh and nice features about the Spectra that I went through. And then in regards to how they both work, and that's why the Spectra is the winner for me, is the Lansinoh to me mimics the baby more, which you're probably thinking, wasn't that the best? I guess depending on what you're going for. So the Lansinoh to me is softer, gentler. I think it mimics the baby more in regards to like the little like suckling in order for you to get the letdown, and then like the extraction mode is also gentler. Even if you're on the highest setting, it's just softer. Whereas the Spectra, you can really tell it's like full force, like a machine sucking out your milk. And I like that because, one, I feel like it gets a job done faster, because if I put that on, like, it really like extracts it real fast. Whereas I feel like with the Lansinoh, it takes a lot longer to get the same results. And I know that's probably also a personal preference, because I have heard for some individuals, they don't, like, their body doesn't really like respond well to like the pumps. And that's probably because it can tell like it's different than like a baby suckling. And so if you, let's say you have the Spectra or something that's kind of forceful and more intense, and it's not really helping your milk supply, you know, you might benefit from trying something like the Lansinoh that mimics the baby a little bit more, because maybe that's what your body needs, something that's a little bit closer to, you know, an actual baby stimulating your breasts. So for me, the Spectra wins, because like when I sit down, I want to just pump and be done, and it be fast, and it to like really yank the milk out of me. And I haven't had any issues in me not responding well to the Spectra pump, and you know, me not producing more. Actually, the Spectra has made me produce more milk, because it's really forceful, and like I said, it yanks your milk out. But a feature that is nice about the Lansinoh in regards to when it's on and functioning is when you're in the letdown mode, after I think it's 2 minutes, it's either 2 or 3 minutes, it'll automatically switch you into like the extraction phase, which is helpful because if you're anything like me and you get distracted and you're scrolling Instagram or, you know, online shopping, you will forget to switch over, which, you know, it's not that big of a deal because you're still stimulating and you're still getting milk out if you're just using the little suckling phase, but it just obviously takes a lot longer and it's a lot slower, so you want to switch over to the like extraction phase. And I don't know if that's like the actual term of it, but you want to switch over to that setting, because it'll just make it like go faster. But the Spectra doesn't do that. So there were so many times when I was pumping where I would be like 15 minutes in, or sometimes I would, you know, go the whole session and, you know, 30 minutes and the machine shuts off. And I'd be like, oh wow, I never switched over. And that can happen with the Lansinoh, so that's good. That's my overview. I hope you found it helpful. So for me, I prefer the Spectra. And that's just because when I sit down, I want to get the job done. But there are features about the Lansinoh that are really nice. Again, I'll repeat them. So like this, that it doesn't fall over. It's just a convenience thing. The lid, and then, you know, the softness of the flange. Then there's also other things that are inconvenient, like I said, like this single tube that splits into two. Seems like the Spectra's a little bit easier for me to clean and take apart, but that could just be because that's what I'm used to. But anyways, I'm rambling. So that's kind of my first impression overview, and I probably won't go into any deeper view of the Lansinoh because, like I said, I'm not gonna like do the Bluetooth setup with my phone. And then because I prefer the Spectra, and right now I'm just kind of pumping to get the job done, I will most likely be using the Spectra. And then if I ever don't have the parts washed and I need a pump, or if I'm on the go, then obviously I'm going to take the Lansinoh because it's portable. So hope that was helpful, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.